All right, we're getting ready to go. People are joining. I'm about to launch a poll. So for everybody that is joining here, please give us some feedback. Want to know if you're currently using AI, how you're using AI. Take a moment as we're seeing the little number in the participant list growing quickly. As everybody is joining in, please answer for us how you're using AI. If you're using AI and how you are using it, if you are.
I mean, we can also throw in if you're not using AI, how would you like to use it? I mean, that would be good too.
Okay, and we'll get started in just a minute. All right, I see 48, 52% of people are participating in the poll so far. We're getting some good feedback in. All right, Jermaine, so far we have 80% of people are using AI. And I can't tell how they're using AI until I end the poll. So I will we'll do that in a minute. But why don't we, let's get going. Honor those that are on time, like we like to do. What we're here to do today. We're here today to talk about the AI revolution and how it's coming to your desk. So lots of hype, lots of people talking about AI. It's so much fun for us because there's a lot of technology subjects that people don't like to talk about. And it's amazing to me how many technology people want to talk about AI these days. And the response we're getting to events and webinars and training sessions and stuff like that we do on AI is crazy. We had one specifically for our clients, for our user base last week on Bing Chat Enterprise, which was basically an AI prompt training session that had over almost 120 people register for it. It was fantastic. Let's do introductions first, and then I'll talk about the plan. So, introducing to my right or left or bottom or top, depending on your perspective, Jermaine. Welcome, Jermaine.
Thanks, Brandon. Happy to be here.
Jermaine is our VP of Operations at Techify. My name is Brendan Howe. I'm the CEO. And Jermaine and I have done quite a few webinars together over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, probably a million of them or so. We've lost count. We do these webinars on a monthly basis. The idea, these are sort of executive focused, high level focused, what's going on with technology, what you should know about, translated into normal speak, so people can keep up with technological change and stuff like that. Now, having said that, we have an announcement to make. This is very important. Jermaine, this is our last webinar on Zoom. So we've decided to eliminate Zoom webinars. We're moving over to Teams. Last week, Mike and I did Mike, who's our consulting manager, did a webinar on Teams. Teams, the capabilities of Teams webinar-wise have finally come along to the user-friendliness capability, that sort of stuff of Zoom webinars. So since we talked about Microsoft 365 and Microsoft a lot, we kind of figured, hey, it would make sense to be on Teams, and then we won't keep getting the question in these webinars of why do you do it on Zoom and not on Teams?
Well, look, it took us a couple of years, and we wanted to make sure it was working really well before we got in there. So it's a testament to it.
That being, and so our next webinar, which is on December the 13th, lucky December 13th, has a holiday theme. It's called Unwrap Success, the perfect Microsoft 365 presence for a more efficient team. We are going to give you a bunch of ideas for how to make your team more efficient. So presents that you could give from a technology perspective, things that you could do for your team that are going to make them more effective, less stressed out, all that sort of good stuff. So just before we move along, I'm going to just take a quick look at our poll. And get, so we had, most people have answered the poll. So let's take a look at the details. Here's what we got, Jermaine. 63% of people are using AI right now. And how people are using AI: improving language, basic templates, different software, starting point for research. Some folks are using Bing Chat, Chat GPT, and digesting large documents, automating processes, and that sort of thing. Okay, cool. That gives us a good idea, and now we can make sure that we are focusing this presentation on what we should be focusing on. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so we thought we'd dive in right away. So the purpose of this webinar is to talk and get you set for what you need to do in order to get ready for Microsoft Copilot. So Microsoft 365 Copilot is this fantastic new AI tool that is literally going to be able to be turned on. In press of a button, turned on. All you folks will be able to use it in spring. And we've been using it internally in our company. It is it's pretty phenomenal. So what we want to do today is first show you where things are going, so what's coming, so maybe get you a little bit excited, and then talk about what to do to prepare for it so that you're in a good place, your organization's a good place, you're kind of AI ready. We'll go kind of half an hour, 35 minutes, and then answer questions. If you have any questions, pop them in the Q&A panel. Please, you can do that as we go. You can do it at the end, and we will stay on to answer as many questions as possible. What Copilot is, if you think about Chat GPT plus the internet plus your Microsoft 365 data, put them all together in a safe, secure place behind a private firewall that you can communicate with, you can operate with, and it is a phenomenal way to use AI. And Jermaine, should we show people some examples?
Yeah, let's kick it off. Give them what they came for.
Okay, so example one, a lot of people like, you're in a meeting. Pain point here, do I have to take notes in this meeting? I'm a board meeting, I'm in this long meeting, I need to take action items and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, what do
so
we
we've
see
got an
here?
example coming up when we were doing preparation in our kind of monthly preparation for these webinars and other content that we generate. Here's an example where we're using our Copilot within a prep session of a meeting, and we've put in a couple of requests. Can you give me the action items? Can you go ahead and give me the summary of the meeting? And Copilot generates it all. And that's based on being in Microsoft Teams, having a conversation with the group, and then everybody, even by timestamp, it shows you who said what when, and then it lists out the action items as you come out of that conversation. Now, if you think about it, you multiply this by the 18 meetings you have in a single week, with the total number of emails that you send post-meeting, with the roll-up summary, the transcript where possible, as well as coming out with action items. This has just taken away time from all those people that were doing this previously and giving them that time back.
Yeah, so imagine you no longer have to you miss a meeting and there's a bunch of people there, and you miss a meeting and you have to have a meeting to talk about the meeting, and then it takes up somebody else's time and stuff. Imagine you miss a meeting and you can just get a recap of everything that happened. Recap the meeting, action items. Super, super cool, super neat. Was talking to somebody this week who said in their organization they have a bunch of people who spend hours a week taking minutes in meetings. Hours a week. So this would give them the ability to basically just edit.
Yeah, it's funny they call it minutes in a meeting when it takes you hours.
Yeah, it's hours for minutes. Let's talk about email. So here's like we all deal with overloaded inboxes, right? We spend so much time on email. It's part of the challenge that we all face. So what Copilot is going to allow us to do, and some folks that are using Sales Copilot can do this already. It's going to allow us to take, hey, say you have like 10 emails back and forth, a big long chain. It'll summarize that chain. It'll write emails for you. So it'll draft an email, or it'll suggest what to say in response to emails. So you save those kind of minutes here and there, allows you to manage your inbox much better.
Yeah, and if you think just in the last couple of weeks, I was away for almost 2 weeks running together. I come back and I've got 300 plus emails on all different things. And those are just the ones I want to look at. I've ignored the other 1,000 emails from all the back and forth chats. And all I had to do, I went in and I said, hey, I'd love a summary of key action points by this person, and this person. What do I need to know? And it rolled me up into a one-pager and gave me all the information I needed from that email.
Oh yeah, you send that to me too. It was super cool. Like it will actually, you say, hey, what do I need to know that Jermaine has done or that Brendan's done? And it will go and it'll look at emails to you, meetings that were booked, chats and Teams, documents that have been created and stuff like that. And it just, if you have access to this data, you're like, okay,
I believe coming out of that conversation, I've decided I'm not attending any more meetings. I'm just going to go ahead and get the summaries.
Okay. I think there's a few folks that are probably on this webinar that use Microsoft Word. So yeah. Okay. So Jermaine, do you want to talk a little bit about why with Copilot, we may never need to do the first draft of a document ever again?
So, and this one's pretty exciting because again, I do a lot of proposals and I work with many parts of our team that we've got to roll these up for our clients, whether we're doing a one-off review for a new prospect or we're doing something for our internal clients. With Copilot in Microsoft Word, we can go in and say, hey, I'd love for you to draft a proposal for client A, B, or C. And I can link it to a template, or I can link it to something that we've already done in the past and say, can you reference this document, create the proposal structure for me? And it will go through, and in a few seconds, we've sped this up. The whole thing took probably about a minute or so for it to generate. But this is a live document being generated when we went ahead and did the planning for this webinar. So we put it in, we gave it a proposal requirement, and we say, please go ahead and draft this proposal. Now, on a normal day, for those of you online that do these proposals and submit these, you've got a template, you're always cutting and pasting things and moving it around. Whereas Copilot's now gone and read all the inference information that we've provided it, and it's now generated a proposal for this specific client with their specific information. So you're no longer control, find, and replace the name of the client and the new prospect and pasting in information from their website. And now I've got the first draft. In a couple of minutes, now I can go ahead and make it even more refined for the client.
Yeah, and there's some folks, particularly in like the AEC space, like architects, engineers, construction, that get these massive PDFs that are like 700 pages. So people are literally spending hours or days, probably days, like combing through these PDFs and finding requirements and then putting them into an estimating and proposal document. That sort of stuff there is going to be this huge capability to take that and take something from days of work down to hours or minutes.
Yeah.
And it's gonna completely change how people work.
Yeah, you can open a PDF, which is kind of fun. We didn't do that one, but you can open a PDF and ask Copilot to read the PDF and give you the summary key points. So let's say you wanted to decide on what's the next platform or something you needed to go do, and somebody's provided you a 300-page report. You can have Copilot read the entire report and give you the summary lines so that you can make an effective decision in minutes.
Yeah, so that reminds me of the story. Like we were joking around, I don't know, yesterday about somebody was talking about, did I read an email that they sent? And my response was, I'm pretty sure that email was 8 or 9 paragraphs, so I probably read the first 2 sentences. Well, now Copilot gives me the ability to summarize that person's email into 2 or 3 sentences so that I don't have to go through all that sort of stuff. Okay, so I want to keep rolling because we want to talk about how to get ready for this, but a couple more examples. So we have this Word document. So we've got this proposal, which is great. And we just showed how we were going to draft the proposal. But then we're going to go and meet with these folks. So now I have to go through putting together a PowerPoint presentation based on the proposal. And I got to spend all this time. And then, wait a second, why don't I use Copilot for that too? I'll just reference this proposal that Jermaine put together. And I'm going to say, hey, Copilot, can you just build a presentation for me? And boom, it's just built a presentation for me. And it's taken the information that was in that proposal and created a 9-slide presentation that is a phenomenal starting point.
And for the quick-eyed people on the webinar, they would have noticed we pasted a link into the chat area on the right side on where Copilot is. And that's a link to the cloud share for that document. So Copilot, you know, it's referencing the most recent document. And when we think about preparation, which we'll talk about as we go through, one of the key aspects is where's that data and how can Copilot or your technology AI access it? So we've gone create from file, we've dropped the link in there. And again, we've sped up the video, but in about a minute or so, we've got a presentation first draft that's launched with all of the key information that we're looking for the client. And we can go ahead and now edit it in any format. Like if you have your special company templates, you can say, base the slide template on this template and give it reference to that as well. And it will go ahead and do that. Minutes to get it all done.
Yes.
So the next one we want to transfer.
I think I was just looking at the Q&A panel. I think you just answered this question. Somebody just asked, can you do it based on a template that you have? Absolutely. You can use a presentation.
I'm psychic. The more we do this, the more psychic I become. So Brendan, why do you, we go through this and a lot, and I was just having a conversation with a client this morning. How many people on here use Excel? As far as I hear, by Microsoft Automation. It's one of the most used pieces of software across the entire history of Microsoft since it was invented. So there you go. Let's talk a little bit about what Copilot can do for us in the Excel space.
All right, so we have a bunch of data and we want to interpret this data, right?
Yes. We want to be able to go through oodles and gobs of data and figure out what the purpose of it. What are we going to do? How are we going to use this data? What makes it actionable? So what we did in this particular one was, and we went in and we pulled every ticket we've had for the last 2 years that came in from our client base. And then we said, okay, can you roll this up and give me some insights on what's happening here? What are the major trends? Throw some graphs up so that we can then take a look at this and say, well, hey, if I took a look at this at a glance, I'd say we need to do some work around moves, adds, and changes in applications with our clients. How can we do this better? Because the tickets that come in volume across our client base is application related. So everybody's got some form of a problem with an application that isn't functioning or needs an update. So if we can focus in on supporting that, that would give us great business insights. And now I don't need to go create the pivot tables or any of that to do this because the computer knows how to do it.
Yeah. So just to give a sense, here's my personal belief. We torture so many people on our teams with going and gathering data, finding data that's in all these disparate sources, putting it together, putting it into Excel sheets, turning it into something meaningful. And it's so hard in so many cases to find this data and to interpret it and to put it into something meaningful that people are exhausted and don't have the energy left to do anything with the data because they've had to work so hard to put it together. So imagine you don't have to expend the energy on gathering the data and interpreting it. And here's why there's this study done by HubSpot earlier this year called the State of AI in 2023. They say the opportunity is to save 2.5 hours per team member a day. that's part of the why here. Here's another part of the why. We have Microsoft did this survey. It's called the Work Trend Index Annual Report. It was in March this year. They surveyed over 30,000 people. What they found is that on average, people are spending 57% of their time just communicating. So we're burdening our team members, our colleagues with these chats and emails and meetings, so much communication that it's hard for them to focus. And it's leaving only 43% of time or less to actually do work, to create stuff, to have an impact. So it's leading to this huge amount of burnout. So we're burning people out. And that's what we want to try and fix, right? Because if we don't do anything about this, if we don't change how people are working, if we don't better support, if we don't give them a co-pilot to sit beside them as they're flying the plane, we don't tell them, hey, you're still going to be flying the plane, but we're going to give you this co-pilot sitting next to you so that you can do way more work, you can do it way more effectively, and you could be less stressed out. If we don't do that, people are going to quit, get burnt out, mental health issues. We're not going to achieve as much productivity perspective. We're not going to achieve our goals, all that kind of thing, the stuff that we want to avoid. So, Jermaine, we wanted to take people through how to prepare for this. So expect Copilot will be dropping in late spring, but most people are not ready for Copilot. They're not ready for AI. There's some steps that everybody needs to do to get their business ready, and we wanted to go through that now.
Yeah, and it makes good sense. So if we think about this, how are we going to get from this where we are today to the eventuality of late spring? Robots are running the world. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? Well, first thing you have to do is move to the cloud. I see some very key questions popping up in the Q&A panel that are addressing and looking at that same kind of question around the thinking of where we are today versus how are we going to do this in the future. And the first thing you have to do is get all of your data from where it's at today, on-prem, disjointed in multiple online, multiple cloud spaces. If you're like us, we've found tons of clients and prospects across the board. You've got 5 different areas of repositories for data. All of this has to be in a single place. All of it has to be co-managed within a single space so that you can have the right access and controls around it. So that means you've got to move to the cloud, but not just to the cloud anywhere in any data center. It has to be within your common tenant space as you migrate that. So you've got to migrate all of the physical servers, all of it that you're not using, that you're doing on-premise with today. You've got to get it into the right space, into the right cloud.
Yeah. We've had so many conversations with folks that are like, I want to use AI, but they still have older applications on-premise stuff, and AI lives in the cloud. And we're tapping in and we're leveraging the cloud for AI. So if you're not in the cloud, you're not going to be able to leverage it. So there was there's a question in the Q&A panel that talks about false positives. If you could just explain a little bit more what you mean, and we'll make sure that we get to that in the Q&A at the end after we go through this. So step number 1 was move to the cloud. Let's talk about step number 2. So we see a lot of organizations where data is not organized, security permission structures, that sort of stuff are the same way they were when all the stuff was on premise. So because a lot of IT people were learning about SharePoint and we're learning about the cloud and 365 and stuff like that. What happened is organizations, companies migrated from on-premise servers and file structures, and then they just migrated it to SharePoint and everything was the same, but they didn't actually modernize how the security structures and permission groups and stuff like that. And so in order to be AI ready, if you turn on Copilot, you don't want to be able to like have somebody on Copilot be like, hey, what's the CEO's salary? And if your security permissions are wrong, it's going to come back and say, oh, the CEO makes X number of dollars a year. and you're going to start having information that's going to pop up that you don't want to have pop up. So having those security permissions is super important. And also organizing your data, the location of your data, and having a data strategy so that it's AI ready, it's AI focused. Jermaine, we've been going through this a little bit with some of our policies and procedures manuals and stuff like that, that we have to keep on pushing people in our own organization back to, hey, don't put that document there because it's not going to be accessible. We need to put it here.
Yeah. And I mean, I was just at one of the travels that I was on recently. I was sitting in the SMB Partner Council for Microsoft out in Seattle, Washington, and we were having a discussion around the governance of your data and how you should organize it. So it's some of the things we can look for in the future that are coming up, because the general consensus across the world, and there's 25 partners in that group, and we're from all over the world. We had Australia, Sweden, UK, couple of people from down south, and everybody's up there, and we're like, you know what, we need to be able to control the access of what the AI has access to and what our Copilot can see. To Brendan's point, I wouldn't want anybody searching how many vacation days does Jermaine have and why, how much what's his credit card limit. You know, we don't want that to be searched anywhere. But for everyone, you need to be able to designate where the AI has access to, and that's really when we say organize your data. We don't mean stick folders and put more stars on them. What we really mean is, from a security perspective, how are you going to organize what is crucial data with the highest and strictest security versus what is open-ended data for the entry-level person in your organization?
Yeah, here's another example. We're just in the process of rolling out an HR chatbot to our team, something that we're looking at making available to our clients too, that can answer just like day-to-day HR questions. And if like, hey, what's the vacation policy? What's this? What's the mileage policy? How do we get to carry over vacation days? You know, all that sort of day-to-day HR stuff that lots of people ask about, that takes up time with HR people or you know, part-time HR people or that sort of thing. And so we take that, and what we found is this big HR manual, that some of the HR policies were starting to go into an HRIS, HR information system. And so if the policies were in that application, they were not accessible to this bot easily. Versus when the policies are in SharePoint, they're accessible to this chat bot. So somebody in Teams can just kind of type in questions about HR questions, and it's feeding them back, which that feeds into the next thing. So we talked about moving to the cloud. We talked about organizing your data. And the third thing is practice, right, Jermaine? That's
right. So like everything else, I mean, we've done this presentation or versions of it over the last kind of 5 months or so. But really, between when we started to today, looks to me like the same progression of when Google first started, and you had to figure out how to Google the right thing. You had to figure out how to speak to Google online and how to search it. Now, practicing with generative AI, you've got to use what's out there. I'm sure if you go and look at your organization today, half of the people are probably using ChatGPT. They're probably using it with your company data as well, which we'll talk a little bit about later on. But when we think about it, like, we have to practice, we have to learn how to use it to become efficient at it, because if we don't know how to prompt the AI appropriately, then the AI won't learn how to respond to us. It won't learn what we're looking for. And how many times have you said, hey, I want a coffee from Starbucks, and it came back as a latte? A latte is a coffee, but you didn't order a latte. You were probably thinking you wanted a Pike Place or, you know, something else, because the specificity in how you ask for something is really important and can be left to interpretation when the AI is reading it, right? Which will answer back into one of the questions we had around where it's kind of doing false positives. So we'll talk through a little bit of that later.
And one really important thing here, and we wanted to dive a little bit more into practicing with generative AI, is with all the people that are using ChatGPT, and there's been some really interesting news about Sam Altman leaving and then coming back and then leaving and then coming back, but it seems like he's coming back now. That's the CEO of OpenAI. If you haven't seen what's going on right now, it's fascinating. But here's the thing, ChatGPT, what people don't know is ChatGPT, that is you're basically publicly releasing information to ChatGPT. Large language models like that scrape the data that you put into it. They use it to learn, they use it to improve. So you could be training it on your key company processes, and then it will train your competitors on your key company processes.
Yeah.
Because it's taking all that information that you put in and potentially using. If you put in like some health information for somebody or that sort of thing, you're publicly releasing that information potentially, right? And so training our staff, and this is why we believe strongly in the Microsoft approach, because there is a way to use that ChatGPT large language model, to use the generative AI, but use it from behind, like privately behind a firewall. And it's called Bing Chat Enterprise.
Yeah, so we should talk a little bit about that. For our clients, if you were on our clients only webinar a week and a half ago or so, and you were able to see Bing Chat Enterprise with your Microsoft 365 license today, Business Premium or eSKUs, you already have this available in your Microsoft Edge. You can load your browser up, it'll be sitting in the top right corner, and now you can go and practice and use this. And this is individual to the person. It is individual to you. No one else in your organization can read the questions and the queries that you put to Bing Chat Enterprise because it's specific to you.
Wait. So you're saying that all these folks can use AI now and have impact using AI for something that they're already paying for? They can just go and use it and turn it on?
That's right. So
amazing.
There's not a whole lot to turn on in this. It comes native in the browser once you've done it. So here's an example. Irem in our organization, she's logged in. There's a little protected button there with a shield that says, hey, my stuff's protected. She's going to ask Bing Chat Enterprise here a couple of questions around the difference between Office Copilot and Microsoft 365 Copilot, and it'll spit out some information. This is pulling information from the internet. And it'll give her some information. Here's how much you could pay for that. Here's what it looks like. And then it also gives you options 1, 2, 3. Here are the references. Here's where I've pulled the information from. Here's where you can verify what I've given you. So now you've got, in less than 30 seconds, all the information you want. Let's compare, if you can't pick restaurants as an example. Hey, Bing Chat Enterprise, of these two restaurants, which one has the better scallops or the better linguine Alfredo? And then it'll give you the options based on all of the reviews that have come back from the different restaurants on Yelp, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and all the other places you review restaurants. But the purpose of this is it's very important because you can actually use this to help your team to understand how to use the AI before you invest in Microsoft Copilot.
Yeah, and so you want to make sure if you're using it that that little that green protected thing is there, because then you know that your information is not going to be shared. The other thing that's important is you can use it directly on the Bing site. You can also just have it, you can click on the button on the top right corner, as I think Jermaine mentioned, if you're using Microsoft Edge browser, and it will be there as a companion all the time. It'll be down the right-hand side of your screen. If you're using Chrome, Firefox, Netscape Navigator, whatever other browser you're using, it's not going to be as secure. You're not going to be able to use it. Please use Edge, people. The time of using other browsers is
left the building.
Yeah, it's gonzo. So here are some examples, ways that you can kind of teach your staff. You can use it yourself, practice with it. If you get a long PDF document, you can ask it to summarize. You can get it to draft emails, social content. You can get it to generate images. You can learn some new skills. We were on a sales training session, and I asked it how to handle objections, and it gave this kind of long list of different ways and different techniques to handle objections. So it was pretty cool. And then as Jermaine pointed out, whether you want a new restaurant or a place to go on vacation, maybe you want to buy cheaper leaf tickets, you can get answers to very specific, complex, real-time questions, where ChatGPT will not tell you what's going on today because it's locked in time from whenever the version of ChatGPT was created.
That's right.
But Bing Chat Enterprise leverages that large language model as well as the internets and gives you real-time information. All right, so last bit on preparing yourselves for AI. In order to implement AI, there's kind of three things that we think everybody needs from an IT support perspective: systems admin, advice, and service desk. So systems admin is the version of, like, somebody's got to make sure that your systems are properly functioning. The security group stuff, the permission stuff, the back-end infrastructure, that things are in the cloud. If they're not in the cloud, they're being moved to the cloud. The advice piece is giving advice on how do we get ready for AI, what kind of roadmap, that sort of stuff. And then service desk is if somebody needs help, if they go to the Bing Chat Enterprise site and they can't access it, or something like that. Obviously, we need service desk. The reason that we bring this up is so many businesses have one or two of these things, but not all three. The typical IT thing is service desk, right? You have help desk people or a help desk person or something like that, somebody that's responding to reactive requests. Systems admin is, a lot of people assume that their IT folks or IT company is doing a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. They're not always doing that stuff behind the scenes. And then the advice piece is where it's probably lacking the most. In a small business, small organization perspective, people don't feel like generally that they're getting enough advice. So here's how we do it from a systems admin level. We have something called a techification process. This is a proactive team that for all of our clients, at least once a month, our team is going out and proactively auditing them against our best practices standards, reviewing, aligning them, getting things kind of up to snuff. There's ongoing cybersecurity network monitoring. There's project implementation. So we talked about those cloud migrations, that sort of stuff. And then there's weekly maintenance and updates. If you're not one of our clients right now, don't assume that all this stuff is happening, because a lot of times it isn't. Advice, Jermaine, this is something that you've led for many years with our organization for our clients. Do you want to talk a little bit about how we do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Brendan. I think around this portion of it, this is where the differentiators and what we see overall is you'll see system admin and service desk 90% of the time in the kind of delivery you get from the organizations that you work with. On the advice piece, when we talk through, if we think about it from a quarterly strategy review, here's where we're at, here's what we're looking to do, here's the progress you're making from point A to point B to grow your business. And here's where the technology will support you over time and what you need to be prepared for. Something like this, the webinar that we're doing today. On the data and AI consulting portion, that business intelligence around parsing and going through data and figuring out what should we be doing and putting more time in the meat of the thinking about creative ways to grow and develop your business, as opposed to the rote tasks that you're doing on a regular basis. Monthly staff's training as well, that we're integrating for all of our staff, so that not only do we tell you what's coming, but you also get the opportunity to learn how to use it and be able to test it, ask us questions, and come back with more questions and insights that you've procured yourself. And then on the procurement side, one of the key aspects we've seen over the last few years in the consultation piece is we've had to build out specific physical hardware to support the type of technology that people are using, because not every computer from Best Buy or Amazon will be able to give you what you need to power the use of your AI tools within your systems. And for your technology to support you well, you need good advice on that. And you're planning around it as much as you can around the investment in your IT spend to make sure that you're getting where you're going. Because if it's a second thought or the last thing at the end of the bill, it's never going to get done and you're going to be outstripped by your competitors.
Yeah. And we recently launched monthly training for our clients, for their staff. something that we got feedback from a lot of our clients on was, hey, we need help with adoption. We need help getting all of our team members up to speed on using Microsoft 365 better. So we've launched this is a client only thing, unfortunately. So not everybody can get access to this, but for the kind of 2,000 plus users we support, they all have access to these monthly training sessions on an ongoing basis. Service desk is what you would expect, day-to-day support requests, fix, change, that sort of thing. New computer setup, user adds, terminations. One point I'll just make about this is we've implemented a whole bunch of AI in our own operations. So now new user requests, terminations, new computer setups are all done through AI as a way of us improving the consistency and the quality of a service delivery, the speed, the effectiveness. Almost 20% of our support requests now get completed or closed using AI. So our team can spend more time talking to our clients and guiding them through what's happened or why it's been doing, or do a little bit of training as opposed to doing the actual technical work. So I know we've gone a little bit over here and we've got a whole bunch of questions. If you have other questions, please post them in the Q&A. We're about to get to them. If you need help in terms of getting your organization ready for AI, we're offering, you can either use this QR code here, or you can go to our website, ai.techify.ca, and there's an AI readiness assessment. What we'll do is we've got a form that we'll have you fill out. There's a bit of a discovery form so that we understand your environment. If you're a client right now, we won't put you through that step because we already understand your environment. And we'll look at where you are on, from an infrastructure perspective. Are you cloud ready? We'll talk about different parts. We'll take you through what you need to do and give you sort of a high level roadmap of where you can go to get ready to implement AI and have a big impact. Or the other thing you can do is just email Jermaine or I. We're happy to go the email route and give you feedback. All right.
Great. All right. So I know we've gone a little bit over. Let's take up these questions so we can support our team. And thank you all for attending with the extra time. Brendan, which one do you want to take first?
Let's go to okay. Well, let's just go from the start. Let's go from the top.
Perfect.
Will Copilot make changes in both directions if you update information? For example, if I update a name or number in one document, does it update in the other one?
All right. So easy answer to that one is we need to think about this as a single document, George, because what's happening here is you will be updating your live SharePoint document on a weekly, monthly, or daily basis. And then you just hit refresh on Copilot. Copilot will have access to the same document. Very important, as I mentioned it earlier, is your documents have to be in the right platform, in your SharePoint, in the same data repository, so that when you update and change those, everything can sync through to the AI.
And what I'm not sure if we know the answer to this question yet. Jermaine, you may have talked to the Microsoft folks a couple of weeks ago, but say you do what we showed, which is you create a presentation based on a Word document. Is that a live link? Like if you change data, say you change the price from $2,000 a month to $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
The Word.
So the answer is yes. So the answer is yes. What you need to do though at that point would be to update. There's a refresh button, or you can tell the AI, as you would a person, can you go and review the updates to the document and make it in the presentation? And the AI will go and look at all the changes that you've made and update the presentation as well. So the answer is yes.
Cool. Okay, let's get to Peter's question. So can Copilot be used to clean up data sets so that analysis can be performed? For example, some older software can only out data in text format, which is then hard to convert to Excel without a lot of manual scrubbing.
So perfect. For Peter, the answer is yes, because computers knew how to read text documents long before they could do Excel, which is good, because as long as you're able to tell the AI how you would like the data to be scrubbed, it will scrub it in that fashion and give you the output that you're looking for. So you can say, could you create, using the following text file, could you go ahead and create a Excel sheet that only provides columns for this type of data? And the AI will pull that data out and pump it into the Excel sheet. So the answer is yes.
Yeah, the other thing we're seeing too that will be relevant for Peter, I'm sure he doesn't mind me sharing, he's in the accounting world. For folks that work with a lot of data, spreadsheets, that sort of thing, Copilot may be the answer, but there's also a bunch of stuff within the Microsoft Power Platform, like Power BI, for example, Power Automate, that the answer may not necessarily, the answer is still probably AI, some version of AI to interact with your data, but it doesn't necessarily need to be Copilot.
Yeah. And for everybody's benefit, Copilot is now the brand. It's Microsoft 365 Copilot. And there's a Copilot for every part of the framework. There's a Copilot for Power Platform. There's a security Copilot. There is a productivity Copilot. So when you think about Copilot, Copilot is the person or the thing sitting next to you to support you. And then you think about the platform, there's a Dynamics 365 Copilot. There's a Sales Copilot. So if you think about it from that perspective, now to Brendan's point, you may be able to build an app or a workflow in Power Apps that does all of that for you. To answer Peter's question as well, if that particular piece of software only spits out text files, you can build an app that converts that text file into the appropriate output that you're looking for, and then just run the text file through the app. And there you go, Bob's your uncle. So you'd create that Power App one time and then just continue to use it as well.
Okay, I wanted to see if we could get through 4 or 5 more answers here. So we may have to go quicker on a couple of them. Natalie asked, will Techify provide their clients with review list of current permissions so they can be validated and or adjusted prior to the launch of Copilot? Yes, absolutely.
By request.
For sure. Okay, done. Next, false positives. Let's take the false positives question.
So
can you speak to false positives within Copilot in terms of correctly emphasizing or identifying content or an issue, i.e. info in an email or PDF, as important when it's maybe not important?
Yeah, so context for the machines. The false positives so far, there are 2 versions of it. One, that it's pulled information from a document that's too old, that is not currently up to date. And this is why people can't go anywhere, because you would still need to review the output of your Copilot. And if it isn't giving you the data you need, which whoever's reviewing or asking for that data should have more of a reference to that. So in your review, you can be able to see where it's pulling that document from. So from our example earlier, I sent Brendan a roll-up of, hey, Copilot has tell me everything Brendan did in the last 2 weeks while I was away. What do I need to pay attention to? And somehow Copilot pulled a document from further back than I did. Now, I said while I was away, but I didn't give Copilot specificity around the total number of days. So it went and it looked at every document with any portion of time I was not around in my calendar or otherwise. So because of that, it pulled something that was older. When I then went and said, hey, Copilot, can you give me the roll-up for the last 14 days? All of the incorrect or different information that came up was then removed from the output because I set the parameters better in terms of my prompts. So there's 2 ways here to think about this. It can give you false information from a perspective of it's accessing the wrong data from somewhere else. But when I looked at it, I was able to tell that it was wrong. And then I was able to give it better prompting to allow it to give me better data. So hopefully that helps to our anonymous attendee.
Cool. Can I get a copy of the recording of this session? Yes, absolutely. It will be posted on our website, and everybody that registered for it, you will get an email thanking you for attending and saying, here's a copy of the recording. All of our webinars are on our website, techify.ca/training, I believe it is.
/webinars.
Yeah, you can access them there. If I gave you the wrong link, just go to techify.ca and just click the training link. A couple privacy questions that I think will be good to ask. Where does the AI learned data get stored, and how is it kept safe?
Okay.
Really good question.
Yeah, I'll take that one. In terms of where it's stored, so in your Microsoft 365 tenant with all of your other data, your indexed AI will be tied specifically to your tenant. So it lives, resides, and stores all of its information in your tenant from a compute learning perspective. So it never leaves your Microsoft 365 tenant. So in part 2 of that, no one in your organization or otherwise can see your private chats with your AI buddy.
So that's the next question that we had. Yeah, the next question about can an employer kind of look at what everybody else is saying?
Yeah. And to answer the external, if you use Bing Chat Enterprise, it's stored in your browser cache until it refreshes, and then it's gone because it gets purged in the browser cache right away. So it doesn't store anything post your real-time session.
Okay. All right. Let's go quick answer. You know what? Let's do 2 more. So one, what licenses can use 365 Copilot? Does it only apply to enterprise customers? This is a quick one. So right now, if you're an enterprise customer and you commit to more than 300, the Copilot is separately licensed. So it's $30 a month per user. Right now, it's just for enterprise, and you have to have a minimum of 300 users. In the spring, it will become available for small business, the SMB type of space. Late spring, probably. They're still playing around with it. We don't yet know what the minimums will be for it because they haven't announced them yet. But we do know that
I might have some insider information here. In the SMB and VSV space, your minimums will be about 10 in terms of that for licensing. And yeah, and then you will have it in business premium and all of the B SKUs. In terms of business premium, we'll have some of it attached, Bing Chat Enterprise, etc. And then the pricing around what that Copilot license will be per user is still up in the air. We don't know.
Cool. All right, let's go last one. I don't know if you have an answer to this question, Jermaine, but it's a good skill testing question for you. Does Copilot have the ability to auto-create bookmarks within a Word document, for example, in a very large document that you want to create hyperlinks to jump to a specific area within the document?
I've never tried it. I certainly hope it can. And Natalie, I accept the challenge. Maybe we get on a call and we test it out ourselves.
Yeah, challenge accepted. Okay, awesome. We want to give people a few minutes to transition to their next string of virtual meetings. Thank you very much for joining today. It's always fun, Jermaine. Thank you for joining me.
Happy to be here. Thanks, everyone.
We love talking about AI. Please reach out if you want an AI readiness assessment. Please fill out the form or send us an email. Let us know, and we're happy to do follow-ups with anybody that's on here. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.